Hi everybody, this is Winter Solace Cosmo Omnithul, and this is I wanted to end the podcast with this, but there was something we filmed before that, an hour-long video on pre-orders that I have to edit and post it after this, so all this will be out of order. But that's been pretty indicative of 2025, and this is just kind of my year-end, I don't know what to call these anymore, post, video cast, or whatever to everybody, seeing as how... I lost my main platform to communicate with everybody, so that happened. But that's just 2025 for all the years I've done this, and it will be, I want to say 18 years next year. If you factor in the early years when I was in my mom's basement and we would maybe get one order a month, and I had to copy the cassettes by hand with a little boom box I bought from Walmart. If you weigh, all that compared to what we're doing now, this year has been the worst year that we've ever done this. And almost all of that is due to the economy and one business entity that... Well, they have one more thing. We have one more payment we have to send them for freight expenses next year for something, but we're done with that. We're done with all of that. My accountant is gonna tear me a new asshole when I explain to them that, well, you're up $2,000 one quarter, but you didn't pay any taxes on it, and then the next quarter you're down to over $2,000. Because one entity can't do their record keeping on time. How do you explain that? But that's just been pretty indicative of how this year has gone. I want to thank everybody, and I really do mean this. I want to thank everybody that showed up in the last 2 weeks, or not the last 2 weeks, but the week before Christmas and then the week before that. So that 2-week period in December where we did 10 different vendors in like a 2-week time span, and I couldn't even follow what was going on. I want to thank everybody for showing up to all of that. And we brought in enough over that to basically get us, for the most part, above water. As prior to that, I don't have any of the numbers with me because they're all boxed up somewhere, but we have to bring in so much money a month to keep the shop open or without having to pay them. And August, we barely did enough to do that. That was a small miracle. And there were a lot of months like that where I had whole weeks where I didn't have anything to do. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't go work on stuff because there's no money to go manufacture it. And a lot of that is because of the many things that are outside of my control, like that one business entity that just has their head up their ass. And the economy, you can't do anything. I cannot fix the economy. And technically what we sell is luxury goods. And I'm not going to say, hey, you need to order records and not buy food. I'm not like that, obviously. Because people have bills and things that they got to take care of. And that's why I'm very grateful that people did choose to show up and send us money during the holiday season and Christmas and everything else. And to be able to provide support. And I do want people to know that, and that's why we're still in business. And then, bad economy aside, and then the tariffs, which have resulted in all kinds of issues with FedEx just taking whatever money they want out of my bank account because they just assume, okay, I got an account with them so I would know when my stuff is showing up. Okay? That's that. But they assume because I have that type of account that we're just some massive, large business with, like, multiple different warehouses and stuff. And when we go, like, you need to just, tell us when you're gonna take money for the tariffs that we have to pay. And then they jerked me around the phone for 2 weeks, and it was, well, you just got to be mindful of that, and you're denied for any type of other account where we tell you what's going on. But that's FedEx. They're just assholes. That's FedEx. But, we would do deals, and then we would pay the vendor, have them ship everything here, and then we would get hit with an import fee in transit, and then it's like, well, we made only like $10 off that. And those are things that we have to just adjust for, and those are things that are completely beyond our control. There are a few things that did happen this year that were under my control, and a lot of that is stuff with the business that I will obviously take responsibility for and correct. And while I'm not going to go into a lot of details as to what those are, next year you're going to see some new battleships popping up. And we already saw that once with Glorious Burden, but in order to be able to just produce and press black metal, that I think we've reached a point with that where the limits of that, and we need to just somewhat expand. And that'll be that. And for anybody that is curious to where all their long delayed releases and stuff are, and this post having a bit of a dark turn, we're not going to close. That is not going to happen. I don't even know how many releases that are just sitting with the layouts and stuff done, ready to just go into a pressing plant, but we're not able to build proper momentum this year, due mostly to the economy and everything else. And I just want to thank everybody for showing up, and again, and some good news. Lost Hierarchy, Pathways to Glory, which I'm going to play at the end of this, or something from that, and then Rectifier Atonement. We're probably the best Winter Solace releases of this year, and I don't. That's not related to the music that's on them. It's more they worked out as intended, and we didn't have years upon years of bullshit to get those done. Because there's some of these. There are projects that will be released either hopefully next year or within the year after or subsequent years that I've been working on trying to get a bookend on and get them ready to go for over 6 years. And that's pretty common. And then a third was Jugra, which happened very early this year. However, kind of just disappeared in the ether, even though we still have copies of that. But again, I want to thank everybody for showing up. And I look forward to next year, and I am also very thankful for everyone for showing up, and for the creator for taking away from me something that was irreplaceable, but putting me out of that void so that I could move on into other areas and other pastures and find other ways to communicate and do other content. And that's why there's going to be a subsequent Substack post with albums of the year and other stuff. But again, I want to thank everybody for showing up. I hope everybody has had a great holiday, a happy new year, and we will be opening, I think it'll be tonight, the 31st is when I'm going to probably post this, and I would assume that that's when I'm going to open the store back up, and we're just going to head into 2026 pushing for something better. And so again, I want to thank everybody, and next year is going to be very, very interesting. We'll just say that.